Good morning, everyone. I just thought I would come on and give you an update. So I've got my little notes here. So fasting diaries update. So as you can see, just back from my morning walk, getting my plaits ready to do my photo shoot to begin week 3. And and then I'm going to go swimming, because there was a festival on over the weekend and I couldn't go on the weekend, so I'm going to go today. So as you can see, I'm still looking reasonable. A little bit of skin breaking out. I've had a pimple in the most strangest of places, in the cartilage, like up in here of my ear. That was reasonably annoying. Anyway, the things we go through to fix our body. So I'm going to screen share something for you. Okay, not that button, that button. Okay, and share. Here we go. Yes, so it tells me that you can see this. So here's my fasting diary. So a little bit of a orientation about what we've got. So here we have the date. So as you can see, I'm doing blocks of 5 days of fasting. That was my first day of intermittent fasting that, well, I didn't fast overnight. I had the headache thing. So then I got hip to that groove, and here are the first 5 days, and then refeed, and then 5 days, and then refeed. I'm changing color to pink this week because I had to swap to a new ketone meter. I'll show you which one I now am using. Its readings are lower than I've tested it out against the other one, and the readings are a lot lower. So when I had on February 14th, you have a look at the highest. So the third column is the highest ketones for the day. It was at 5 on my Keto Mojo, my old Keto Mojo. This is a Freestyle Optium Neo. Looks like this. It's what I can get available in Australia, and it's pretty fancy. It's got a touch screen. Yeah, it's pretty wild. So yeah, I don't know if you can see that. There you go. It's got the time and all sorts of things. And when I stick the little twig up there, it tells me it's ready. So it works the same way as the other one, but it does read a lot lower. So it will be interesting to see where the readings come to and compare week to week. You can already see this morning it was 0.8 on the new meter. So and then comparing to the first day of the second week of fasting was 0.6, and then it started to jump up. The first week it was low, 1.1, and then it took the whole week for the ketones to even get into the range where it's really fueling things. So that was very interesting. So overall, comparing the first week and the second week on paper, in terms of ketones, looks better than the first week. The first week looks better in terms of scale weight dropping. However, if I compare how I felt in the first week to the second week, vastly, vastly different. In the second week, I was full of energy. So the scale weight may be, well, I'm sure actually, it is demonstrating that I am using up my fuel, because I'm using fat for fuel and I'm spilling ketones. By the end of the week, it was showing the highest ketone readings were showing up at 5. And so that's on the old meter. So we'll have to see what happens this week in terms of the highest readings. I applied my learnings of the refeeding, because the refeeding was really difficult. The first weekend I had to do a lot of learning. The biggest thing I learned from the second week of fasting is the higher your ketones are, the more salt you're going to need to eat. And I think by the time I got to Thursday and Friday, I wasn't really attending to the amount of salt that I needed to eat, the electrolytes needing to increase up. So I broke my fast probably earlier than what I would have if I had kept my salt up really high. I didn't break it until the Saturday, which was the 15th, and I broke it sort of mid-morning. I wanted to fast through the weekend, see if I could go longer than the 5 days, but I could see that my weight on the scales was coming to a hold. Um, and that may be the fact that I wasn't giving I wasn't keeping my electrolytes up, and there was a little bit of a panic in my body. Also, it could just be, and I have to test out this theory. It might take me an entire like month, 4 cycles worth to figure this out, but it may very well be that my body was wanting protein because it wasn't needing fat because the ketones were still very high. So it was burning fat for fuel. It had access to fuel. But the body, I have been moving a lot more in the second week of fasting than well, really ever before. And not just more often, but the intensity of my movement is really ramping up and it's just naturally happening that way. So I'm not going to stop myself. I'm very much never ever going to be the person who just sits on the couch and lets the process happen to them. If I have energy, I feel compelled to go and use it. And at the moment, I'm taking advantage of the fact that we're just coming out of summer, so the daytime is still quite warm most of the time, and going swimming is very easy. I don't have to dry my hair so much. I can just put on a beanie, and yes, so I'm taking advantage of that. Now, the way that I swim is really athletic, because it's the only place in my life that I've been able to be athletic. I have a really nice, smooth stroke, and I know exactly how to build the core muscles when I'm swimming. And so I do that. I make my shoulders work very, very hard, but also my torso. And that could mean that I am building my muscles and I have a suspicion that this past week of fasting really has been all about my body learning where to get its proteins from because I'm creating more demand. Number one, by not eating any. Number two, by building muscles by swimming and walking athletically. And my body is having to work out where to get the proteins from because it can't get it from my muscles because I'm asking my muscles to get bigger. I'm not just sitting on the couch allowing them to atrophy. So the good news is, and honestly, I wrote down, like the first week I lost 5 kilos on the scale, 5.5, and then second week about 3, and I could be upset about that decreasing in pace. However, my ketones are nice and solid. My brain sharpness is nice and solid. My physical strength and stamina are really solid. And I've got some clothes that didn't fit previously that fit now, which is great. They're a really nice incentive. However, the biggest thing that I'm interested in right now is the part of the update, which is the lipedema update. And this is for all the ladies out there who have really, really stubborn weight to move because lipedema fat or the fat enclosed or entwined inside the lipedemic like structural tissue in and around your fat makes it really, really hard to lose weight. I mean, really easy to put on weight and store it. And then once it's in there, it's really hard to pull it out. Your body doesn't like to dismantle. It never really does. Bodies like growth. Yeah, life likes growth. So when you do something that to ask your body to dismantle, it's a little harder. So using up fat stores for energy, it's going to resist it, but you have to persist and give it the right signals that that's what it's got to do. and dismantling proteins. It doesn't really want to, it's designed to build your muscles, not let them atrophy. But if you put them in a situation where you're not giving enough protein, then the body has to go and get the proteins from somewhere else. Because the one thing the body doesn't want to do, it does not want to die. And so it has a hierarchy of what it's prepared to do and when it's prepared to do it to make sure you don't die. So until now, I haven't felt or seen any difference in my lipidemic tissue. It might. I mean, if I compared photos, which I do each week, and once I have a sequence of them, probably after the 8 weeks of doing all of this, I'll be able to see how it has actually changed. But I haven't really felt anything different. However, this morning, I woke up to a very different sort of ache around my hips. And I started feeling around and I realized, thinking, why are my muscles sore? Because I haven't really done anything. I didn't really do anything over the weekend, just walking like usual. And I started feeling around and I realized it's not actually my muscles, it's actually the fascial tissue that is tender. And then I started feeling around here and it is more tender. I feel a little bruised, but I haven't been doing anything to bruise myself and I don't have any bruises. But, it feels like when you've got a big bruise and you poke it a bit, that's what it feels like. So if you think about what a bruise is the color of a bruise is the blood that's pooled there. And then over time, the body removes that blood as it heals that area. But really, a bruise is the pain of a bruise is coming from the impact where it broke the tissues. So I am assuming that my body is starting to break down the proteins that are encasing all these fats that I am using up. If the fat cells are diminishing well, maybe they're just getting a lot smaller, then there will be gaps in there. There will be a collapse of the structure because, the proteins they're not elastic. They're quite, they're like cartilagey, the connective tissue is really quite, it's like when you're eating meat and you've got connective tissue, it's really hard to chew. So it's flexible, but it has a lot of strength to it. And so it's kind of like when if there's gaps in there, then it's squishing down a bit and its structure has an incentive to alter. And whenever the body senses that something is not performing the way that it was created to perform, it will start to go and attend to it and figure out what can we do here? How can we fix it? And so I am crossing my fingers that this week my body gets hip to that groove and figures out what it wants to do with these excess proteins. So until now, I haven't seen shifts, but I do believe the structural tissue around the fat has no need to be there any longer, as emotionally and psychologically, I don't need fortification. And as of this morning, I am beginning to feel more ache and sensitivity, and I'm feeling positive about any kind of change. Because change means something is occurring. If you sense no change at all, even so, I could overreact and go, "Oh, it's painful. That's bad," but it isn't bad. It's just now my body's going to go and fix it up, like a bruise. If I banged myself, sure, there would be a little bit of damage, but I know that bruise isn't going to be there in 2 weeks. It might be a little sore to the touch for a little while, and then the body heals it up because that's what the body does. Really good at that. Really, really good. So that's promising. I'm starting this week at, it's not, it's 112, not 12, 112.4 on the scales, which is, it's ultimately I'm looking at it from the 118 at the beginning, and you say, oh, well, it's really only 8 kilos or under 8 kilos. But that's better than if I had been just intermittent fasting or being successful on any diet that I've ever done. I don't think I've ever lost more than a kilo in a week. So that's 6 more than I would have if I was just on a regular plan. So let's not be negative about things. Let's be positive. So I've done 2 weeks and I have planned out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more. I think that's right. So yes, I've got from the beginning of February, and I've planned, I've looked at my calendar and I've got events coming up mid-April. So I have a festivity event that I will be around lots of food and celebrating with other people, and I don't want to be not eating. So I'm going to have to refeed for probably a week before entering into that. And then afterwards, I'm going to I'll just stop the screen share. How do I do that? Stop. I don't know. How do I do that? Stop share. There we go. The button for everything. So I'm not sure if I still have the flyer handy. No, I don't. Well, anyway, it's an event that's happening in Melbourne, and it's going to be very exciting. It's a carnivore event, and it's very exciting. It's happening around the corner from my house, which is really, really convenient. And so I'm making sure that I'm not fasting at that point in time because I'm going to dinner with all the speakers. And yes, so that's going to be a lot of fun. So now on my agenda this morning, I have to go and do my little body check photography session. So I'm going to go set up my green screen, and I've got photographic lighting now so that everything shows up nice and clearly. And I'm putting my hair in plaits to get ready because that's part of the costume. And after that, I'm going to take my plaits and go down to the swimming pool because it will be about 10 a.m. and the morning swimmers will be finished, and I will have a nice calm pool to swim in, which will be very nice. And then I will get on with the rest of my day. So hopefully you all have a brilliant week, as you should have often. Hopefully your goals are also coming true. Just remember, there are 3 aspects to fasting. You have to have the body fat to use as fuel. If you don't fast. It won't work. You can't ask your body to do something that it can't do. And the second thing is that you have to teach your body to use that body fat as fuel. Because if you've not fat adapted your body, then you're going to go through all sorts of agony if you're forcing it to fat adapt so quickly. It's a very harsh process to go from eating foods like carbohydrates and even dairy for some people that are encouraging their body to not use the fat for fuel, and it just hangs out for the dairy. I was a bit like that. My body would just not, it would just wait. It would just hold out and just wait and make my brain work a little slower. So yeah, you have to train your system to go back into its native state of using fat for fuel. And if you don't know how to do that, there's lots and lots of resources online for you to do that. You basically need to understand what priming is. I can explain it to you, but my Facebook groups are up and running. I haven't advertised them yet, but if anyone turns up in there, I certainly will attend to helping you with whatever you need. So fat adaptation, really, really important. And the third thing you need to do is make sure that you don't have any psychological signals that are causing you to not be able to stay the course. It's really, really easy to misunderstand what your stomach grumbling means. I mean, this morning I came back from my walk and I'm in the kitchen and I'm filling up my water filter and making water to put in the fridge. And of course, I'm not eating, but I'm in the kitchen. Yeah, and I was eating yesterday and the day before. So, I'm putting dishes away, I'm doing domestic things. I've got meat dehydrating for my dog in the dehydrator in the kitchen. I can smell it. And, I get a signal from my stomach saying, famished. You know that famished feeling? Oh, I'm just famished. Most of my life, that signal has been translated by me to mean, um, oh my gosh, if I don't eat like now, I'm going to shove something in because I'm just not going to keep going. So that psychology is going to help you. My old psychology was helping me interpret feelings in my body in certain ways. Now I've altered the psychology, I've changed the story. So I had a particular belief that was held by my dragon, my psychological helping force, which I did need at the time because I was really young when this all occurred, all this pressure. And anyway, now I realize I don't have any pressure. I don't have anyone in my life that I have to look after before me, perhaps my dog, and he's patient. And yeah, and I don't have to put myself at the back of the line anymore. So I changed the story, which means the psychological triggers, the psychological signals are really different. So I get that famished feeling and I interpret it differently now. It happens really instantly. So if you have interpretations of your feelings in your body, sensations in your body that are, if you're interpreting them in a way that is not necessarily conducive to you continuing on with your goals, reaching your goals, then you need to attend to that. That's the third thing. So you've got to have the fat, you've got to be able to use the fat, and you've got to be able to interpret your physical symptoms in your body, the sensations in your body, accurately, without colored glasses. Yeah. Made up by your dragon and the belief that it's still holding because you haven't updated that belief. So it's really, really important. Otherwise, and this is not just for fasting, this is for anything in your life that is a hard thing. Yeah. Anytime it's a hard thing, you have to get your story straight because it gives you a clean view. And, it's like the end of last week. I couldn't quite work out how to stop the dizziness, the lightheadedness, and I remembered it from the first week where I was a little bit lightheaded at times. And I thought, you know what? It's the Friday. I will see how I go overnight and I'll eat tomorrow if I have to. And so I decided I'll eat if I have to. But if that occurred on a Tuesday, I would probably work a lot harder to figure out what it was. It's because it was on the Friday that I thought, well, I fasted 5 days, maybe 5 days is my limit, maybe. But now that I'm hip to that groove, the end of this week, I will be able to test whether I'm absolutely fine to continue. And if I am, I might just. Okay, so that's my two bob. I'm off to do my photography and swimming, and I'll see you again for another update. Go have a look at all my things. Oh, and if you need to find things, like you go, oh, she's got this or she's got that, just go to, oh gosh, it's very hard to do this with, no, this one. It's very hard to do this because in my actual physicality, on my left, which is here, is actually over here. Yeah, it's weird. So this is my website, JoannaRuth.Online, and everything that I talk about, everything that I do is there. So you can always find it. Leave a comment. I can answer you. Okay, bye for now.
Here's a playlist for the entire series. Please like and subscribe. It helps more than you know. See you in the next video.